This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Good morning, Ira. Hope you had a good weekend.
I did. I mean, it's been running back and forth between Miami and Denver here. But that's the, remember in the old days, Big O, it used to be 2-3-2. You'd only have a couple of trips during the finals. They said that's not fair to the team in the middle. So now it's 2-2-1-1-1. So just like the Panthers, you're bouncing back and forth, but nothing wrong with Denver. The weather is good. And I guess tonight's about keeping hope alive.
Yeah. Tonight's about keeping hope alive, but it's hard when Jimmy is not Jimmy. And to me, that's the one thing that has just stood out of all of this, because the important part about Jimmy, it's not so much that when you have Jimmy buckets, he's awesome, but it also, how that one fan was saying about, the one team pumps us up more than the other. Nothing pumps up the fans, his teammates, the coaches, the front office, Pat Riley, everybody, than Jimmy Butler playing well, because the players also, their game gets elevated. And without your star shining brightly, it just kind of affects everything else there. And everybody else knows on that team right now, our horse isn't a horse right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and again, look at the difference in this series. As great as Jokic has been, and has been great, and as good as Murray has been, he's been very good. No team the Heat has played to this point has relied on a single player as much as the Heat have on Jimmy Butler. The one exception might have been Jalen Brunson in the Knicks series because Julius Randle was hurt. But
right. Milwaukee.
No, Milwaukee, I'm going to disagree with you. Giannis got hurt, but you also have Drew Holiday. You also have Chris Middleton. You also have Brook Lopez. Big O, tonight is the Miami Heat's 112th game of the season. 5 preseason, 82 regular season, 2 play-in, 5 against the Bucks, 6 against the Knicks, 7 against the Celtics, 5 in this series. At a certain point, you can only carry and lift so much for so long. And it's interesting because you and I in our Acura Pembroke Pines reports have spoken for months and will again about Jimmy Butler missing so much time during the regular season. But you know what, Big O? If he didn't miss that time, what he was able to give you against the Bucks and against the Knicks and against the Celtics, he would have been at the stage he is now. Your point is spot on for this reason. If you add a Damian Lillard, for example, we'll get more into this in Summer League and free agency. When Jimmy takes his 20 games off, you have another elite scorer. And when Dame takes his 20 games off at 33, you have another elite scorer. And that carries you so you can get to this moment so no one is exhausted on July 12th trying to win games. We've already seen, God bless Bam, he's not a carry the offense guy. Maybe Tyler is if he stayed healthy and he could work on his defense a little more, but he's not that reliable kind of guy. That's why I put in my Sunday column at the Sun Sentinel, I would give up Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Nikola Jokic, your upcoming number 18 pick and another first-round pick and offer all of that.
Can I just Jovic and give the first rounders instead, please?
You really don't have more than one beyond this season to give without unlocking the pick to the Thunder. So you're going to have to go big. The other point is giving up Caleb Martin. Let's not forget what he did to you.
Jovic is long, and I know how Riley is about those kind of players. So that's the only reason why I kind of think that Riley's going to want to keep him and try to get away with one or two first rounders.
And this brings me full circle to the man called Orlando Alzugaray, and now we go back in the Wayback Machine.
Oh, okay, God, you're going to stack again?
Yes, we're in 2000. We're in 2004 again, and Big O is talking about whether you can give up Caron Butler or not in the deal. Remember, Caron was a terrific rookie coming off a rookie season and played great. To go big, unless you want to go home, you have to throw everything in the middle. Look, if Dame Dollar is available and Damian Lillard's put up for trade by Portland, the offers are going to be huge. And the New York Knicks will try to outbid the Heat. And for the Heat putting in Tyler Hero, the Knicks will put in RJ Barrett. And for the Heat putting in 1 draft pick, the Knicks will put in 3 draft picks. And for the Heat putting in Caleb Martin, the Knicks will put in another contributor. But you shovel your best deal. It's not like you...
Losing Caleb too? Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's not like you play poker. Big O, You're the one all year, and Acura Pembroke Pines shows have said the Heat have to do whatever they can to get Jimmy at 33 years old, going
I've
on
said this
34.
for 4 years.
Right.
I said it from the second they traded him. I said this trade will not be maximized if you don't bring another star. And I've been proven right. You're not getting without another star.
Don't play liar's poker when it comes to making your one pitch. And if it meant throwing in Brian Grant, Lamar Odom, Karan Butler, and draft choice, you go ahead and you do it. It's the same right now. Look, if you're giving me
the only thing at that time, context is very important.
Okay.
Shaquille O'Neal was a 400-pound lazy slob with a toe injury at that time. Okay. And so, Riley got him and he lost weight that first year. He obviously, and then the second year it started getting awry with him. But that's what I was afraid, where Dane has been a character guy from beginning to end. He always takes care of himself and all that kind of stuff. So that was my trepidations with Shaq in those days.
I guess the way I would put it this way is this. I think you would agree, that Pat Riley and the way he's found the Vincents and the Duncan Robinson and the Struces, if you give him a starting point of Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard, and Bam Adebayo, he can fill out a roster for you. He will find the other pieces. And all of a sudden, you put those three together against Holiday, Middleton, and Antetokounmpo, against, Smart and Brown and Tatum, against, if he stays, Harden. You're right there. You're right there with those teams. No team has been better about filling out the other parts of the roster as needed. I am sure between Pat Riley and Adam Simon and Andy Ellisberg and the rest of Eric Amsler, the rest of the front office staff, they'll be able to do that. The Damian Lillard thing is fascinating. You and I, starting after the finals and after the draft and going into Summer League, that's going to be the number one talking point because,
by the way, if I have to give you Caleb, I can't give you all the first rounders too at the same time.
You're going to have to go all in.
I've been a Caleb guy from the get-go. He's the one guy out of this roster that actually has a shot to be maybe a star on this team.
And Big O, I agree with that.
Everybody else has a shot. I'm not saying he is.
But let me ask you this. If you have to offer multiple pieces, so we agree we're offering Tyler Hero because of his contract.
Tyler and Duncan, I'm giving them.
Well, I don't know if they want Duncan because that's a lot of money. What I'm saying is you have to offer them an attractive piece. That's what Caleb did in that Celtics series. Sometimes it's hard to give up something you like, but to get something you need, you have to make a move like that. What I'm saying is the door is open. And you know what? If it's not Lillard, you and I will sit back, not as excited, but still, we'll talk about Bradley Beal. We'll talk about these kind of players.
I don't know if there's a dog there. I'm not sure anymore if there's a dog.
He's a better defender than Damian Lillard, I'll tell you that, which isn't saying much.
Dame Lillard can score. And that's what you need on this team. You need a guy
that can score.
Fearless scorer. No, but I'm talking about like money time. I haven't seen enough of that of Bradley Beal to be honest.
Because they're never in the playoffs. They never have a moment. Say what you want about Dame Dollar, but he's had his moments against the Thunder and other teams. That's the difference.
Here's a subject that you and I have talked about in well over 20 years now. When you're on a bad team, it's easy to be a really good player because nobody else takes the shots. So somebody's got to take the shots.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's the history, the league is littered with players that were on bad teams for years and they put up great stats and you thought that they were really great players, but no, dude, they were all right, but they were just on a bad team and they got all these opportunities. And to me, with Bradley Beal, what I don't see enough is playoffs. What I don't see enough is at least just getting in, dude. I just want you to get in. We're watching one star, although he has Spo, but we're watching one star carry a team, to distances nowadays. It's crazy what Jimmy has done in 4 years. And Dame Lillard has had his runs too at times, and he's had big moments. And I just don't have in my memory bank enough of those moments with Beal, so I don't know to trust him. Now, let me ask you something. Here's the second part of the question, because we got to be honest here. And the Dame Lillard one is going to be important. Riley really has not landed a star in a long time. Dwayne Wade has been your conduit to stars. Whether it's Bosh and LeBron and whether it's Jimmy, Wade's been kind of the the agent, kind of getting everything done.
The Heat have a
And,
new agent. The Heat
yeah,
have a new agent. And if you read Damian Lillard's comments or saw them on that podcast, he spoke about a desire to play with Bam.
yeah,
And other players around the league have said the same thing for this reason. And it's almost to a fault how selfless Bam Adebayo is.
exactly.
He will cover for your defensive mistakes. He will facilitate instead of shooting. He will give up his points so you get your points. Big O, as a player, when you can find someone who will do that for you, you can say, I can go there and he will make me better, or he will make my life easier. I think the conduit was Bam Adebayo going on the 21 Olympic team to Tokyo, playing with Damian Lillard and other players, and people realizing, wow, this dude makes life easier. Let's be honest. He made life easier for Jimmy Butler. He's made life easier for Caleb Martin and Duncan Robinson. The dribble handoff created the player we know as Duncan Robinson. So again, Bam's not that rah-rah out there kind of guy who's going to go in a free agency meeting. But what Bam does as a player is so seductive to outside players. Lillard is not the first player who's noticed it. Every player on Denver has noticed it, how he makes players better, just like we're noticing how Nikola Jokic makes players better. That facilitating big man who doesn't have to only look to score. I think that's going to be the Heat calling card. Bam is young, Bam is locked into contract, and Bam doesn't want to be the man. He not only doesn't want to be the alpha, he doesn't want to be the beta.
It's not who he is. That's
exactly.
It's not that he's choosing. It's not his nature, dude.
It's his character. You're right. And it's not a bad thing if you find the right 1 and 2 ahead of him. Absolutely.
Right. As I've said before, he's a fantastic player. I want him on my team. He's just not a star. He's not the guy that's going to be your anchor. He's the supporting guy. It's a different kind of UD. It's a different kind of PJ Brown. The league has guys like that throughout the history of time. That guy that you love, Dennis Rodman, that will sacrifice everything for you, defend, rebound, take charges, all that, and take pride in doing that kind of stuff, even though you're not going to get, the love that the scorer or the game winner is going to get and all that kind of stuff. He's super important. A lot of people get confused with me when I don't call him a star. They say, oh, well, you don't want him on the – no, I do want him on the team, but I want him in his role because that's what he is. He's just not a star. He's more of what I call him a super role player because he's actually better than UD and PJ in the way he does certain things that, he's so multifaceted. You know what I mean? That
now maybe a super recruiter, and that'll be fine also. And the thing is, Jimmy's not doing the Olympic team thing anymore at 34, nor do I want him to expend that energy. But please. Bam is a big part of USA basketball, and even if he's not in the World Cup this year, he'll be in France in the next Olympic cycle. And how did the big three come together? They came together because of Team USA with Bosh and Wade and LeBron. So you know what? Maybe he's Agent A, and maybe he's Bam Adebayo out to these international competitions, and instead of Pat Riley throwing his rings out there, Bam throws his skill set out there, and he becomes your prime recruiter.
By the way, does Dane have control over this in a way that, he can say, well, you're going to have to trade me where I want to go?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right?
A couple of things are happening here. Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause, so he can dictate where he goes. Dame doesn't. But Dame has the pull at the heartstrings of a team where he goes, you said you would do right by me. We will know more at the draft for this reason. Depending on what Portland does or doesn't do with the number 3 pick. If Portland trades the number 3 pick for a bona fide star, you're screwed. That means they're going all in with Dame. If they trade the number 3 pick, say for a Bradley Beal or someone, we know that that's the direction they're going to win now. If on draft night, Portland drafts a really nice guy to put with Shaedon Sharpe, to put with Anthony Simons, and a really nice young core, then they're saying, give us your draft picks. Give us your 23-year-old boy wonder from the Heat. Give us your Jovic, and we'll build that way. So keep an eye as we get closer. You and I will talk about it. NBA draft, June 22nd. We'll have a better read on Portland then. Otherwise, Portland can't, after what Lillard has done for that franchise, tell them, okay, now you're off to Indy. Now you're off to Sacramento. They have to do right by the player. That's why he came out and said, like to go to Brooklyn. Like to go to Miami. It helps. And while Durant didn't go to the Heat at least knew they had a chance to be among his finalists. While Donovan Mitchell didn't go to the Heat, he made clear he wanted to play with Bam. Remember, he played Summer League down here with him, down in Miami High. So at least you know there's a direction that Dame is leaning on. Durant wasn't traded last summer. The Heat couldn't wait. They had to sign the extension with Hero. That was lost. The Knicks put together a better package for Donovan Mitchell. Or rather, the Cavaliers put together a better package for Donovan Mitchell, and you wound up in that direction. So it's just a case of where are you going to be among the finalists? And I think that he will be among the finalists for Damian Lillard, for Bradley Beal. At least you're in the door.
There is heat on, again, folks, not hot seat, because I don't want Riley to go anywhere ever. Okay. But there is heat on Riley, right? Like he has to have super internal pressure on himself to get that star this offseason, right? Because the sands of the hourglass are continued, and there's not much time left on the Butler hourglass.
No, but the fact that he got to the finals this year, I think, reduces some of that. They had a hell of a showing. And let's not write him off just yet. I'll be back on next week, on Monday, whenever we'll know the final score. We know how it's trending, Big O. I agree with that, but it's not over until it's over. So you have to wait on that. And number two,
if we had a healthy Jimmy, bro, I'd be more than
sure. And a healthy Kachuk, and I understand that all of a sudden it's like, we're rickety at the finish, both in hockey and basketball. But I think Pat's bought time. And I got to tell you something else. If you look at the quotes from the Denver Nuggets in this series, so many of them have mentioned Pat Riley and what he has done for that team. So I have to tell you this, Big O. While you might have the pressure because you want to see more from Pat, the respect around the league for a 77-year-old Pat Riley still is strong. Players know who he is and what he's done. So, yes, Pat Riley still being in that meeting.
That's two different things.
Yeah.
The respect
Pat
is there.
Riley.
I support Riley and all that. But I got to say, Riles, brother, you got to turn it up, man. You have failed miserably here throughout this 4-year stretch with Jimmy. The Lowry contract was unacceptable. You got to do better. You're Pat Riley. You have set a standard. You got to go find a star. He's got to get it done. I'm not saying he will try line or he should leave or anything like that, but I think you're running out of time with Jimmy. I don't think there's a lot left there.
All I can say is this, Big O. He has made every effort. He delayed re-signing Tyler Hero until he had a better sense on Durant, until he had a better sense on Donovan Mitchell. The Heat were involved last summer. That is undeniable. Again, one of the most important things you can do is get your foot in the door. Now, as closer, that's the hardest thing to do. Whether you're a player, whether you're a GM, I understand that. But the Heat are still there. This is not local Miami radio and the Big O show making us stuff about how the Heat took a run at Durant, the Heat took a run at Mitchell. No, they really did, and they were involved. Now you've got to close the deal. Now, if Damian Lillard goes to the Knicks for a package of R.J. Barrett and a young player, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 first-round picks, the Heat will have lost out again. And then you can say, what more can the Heat do? But like you said, when you burden yourself with the Lowry contract, with the Duncan Robinson contract, you're starting with ankle weights on and you're trying to run that 100-meter dash.
Yeah. And I keep thinking that Lowry and Oladipo might be sexy in the trading deadline next year. I don't think
firing contracts always help. There are other options and other ways around. You can use stretch payments to get lower below the cap and sign other players. There are options out there, and no one is better playing the options than Andy Ellisberg. So they will do and put together what it takes to make the sexiest offer they can with their assets.
Yep. Good stuff. All right. What are you working on the Sun Sentinel leading up to the game?
I've been holding on to a takeout story. I posted it this morning on Remy and Jai, who's Jimmy Butler's personal defensive assistant. So many times you hear Jimmy Butler after a game saying, I worked out against Remy. If I can score on Remy, I can score on anyone. I said to myself, who is this guy? And he's a native of Senegal who came over, who worked for the Philadelphia 76ers and evolved into Jimmy Butler's personal practice partner. And even last night at the University of Colorado, Jimmy will go out, play one-on-one. Remy only plays defense. He gets a point when he stops Jimmy. Jimmy gets a point when he scores. They go back and forth. And just sort of this relationship. And it grew so strong that Jimmy has gone to Senegal in off seasons to visit with Remy's family. So I wanted to sort of bring the personal side of it all together. That's at sunsentinel.com right now. It'll be in your newspaper on your door tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe with a story about a victory. We shall see.
That's where I've heard him in one of the conversations say that that he's gone to Africa and he's going to Africa again or something like that.
Yeah. And so there's a really good backstory if you get a chance, sunsentinel.com to read that.
And follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeats. Let's hope they can pull off a miracle tonight. Ira, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely.
Catch you next time. Who knows? They still might be playing. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There you go. Ira Winderman. And boy, we were on Friday. We were out at Acura Pembroke Pines, and they are smoking hot right now, folks. They've got all kinds of great deals for you down there. So get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And if you actually own an Acura or lease one, Mike Chen and Jordan Ferber, they run that service center, and they do a marvelous job, man, at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.